I'm here in the Breville kitchen with Christina Tosi of Momofuku MilkBar, executive chef, the woman that has turned dessert not just into art, but a cult. I am beside myself that you're in Australia and that we get to bake today. Welcome.
Hi, Paula. How's it going?
So excited. I'm so excited. You really have just turned all things sweet into just art and craziness and fun. How did you get into cooking?
You know, I was raised by bakers, so you know, you make dessert. My mother, my grandmothers, my aunts, dessert was served after every course or every meal, and cooking, baking, cookies, cakes, pies was just like a foundation that I was raised on. And I decided to go to culinary school to become a pastry chef and really learn the breadth of the trade. Yeah. And I worked my way up New York City restaurants, and I decided my real heart laid in a bakery, an American bakery with a little twist.
And it is an American bakery with 2 Michelin stars. So it is the absolute ultimate bakery in the world, and when you go to New York, it is an absolute must-have. In fact, it's a bucket list for your whole life. You need to make the trip. It's amazing. So today we're going to cook.
Yeah.
And we're going to cook something that's not too hard, but very signature to you.
Yes.
What is it?
It's our compost cookie. It is a rich buttery cookie. It has a very sort of salty, sweet profile. We're going to put pretzels, potato chips, oats, ground coffee, butterscotch, chocolate chips. Keep going. Graham crackers.
So the idea is that everything you've got, we're going to compost it all together, cook it, and then eat it.
Exactly. And the fun part about this cookie is, you know, the only rule is that there are no real rules.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
At least in terms of what we're gonna fold in at the end. But like any good cookie, it starts with butter and sugar.
So you put in white sugar, brown sugar, and glucose syrup.
And glucose syrup,
so
exactly.
there's a lot of sweetness going on in this, but it's not too big amounts.
No, and then we're just going to cream them together. We have a great paddle on our Breville stand mixer that has a little silicone blade to it, so it'll help sort of scrape down the sides of the bowl as the butter and the sugars are creaming. And then I just like to start the mixer off slowly.
This is a pretty high-tech mixer.
It is. The timer on this mixer for the cookie mixing application is key, because we're going to get to the point where we're going to dork out a little bit and time the butter, the sugars, and the egg.
Now I think this is a bit of a misconception about bakers. You know, it looks like it's all so freeform and easy and you just do it, but actually bakers are timing nerds.
Yeah, it's very precise.
It is, isn't it? Like it is, if you overbeat or you over aerate, you're done.
Exactly. And so I sort of like to approach, I think a lot of people though are scared of baking because of that knowledge, and so I like to really have like a left brain, right brain approach to it, where there are the points where you have to take it really seriously, and then there are the parts of the baking process where you can really have a good time and sort of just let caution go to the wind.
That's where I come in.
So after the 2 to 3 minutes of creaming is up, you can see that the paddle of this Breville stand mix is really helping.
Oh my goodness.
Is really
so
helping
much.
scrape down.
It's so different to because that's the thing that I hate when you're creaming butter and sugar and you have a cylindrical beater. You're always using your own spatula to get it off the sides.
Right, you're constantly stopping the mixing process to scrape down.
Genius.
So we're gonna add 1 egg, the vanilla extract, and then we're gonna let this baby rip for 10 minutes.
And by rip you mean?
On high, let it go.
Egg white high.
Exactly,
Okay.
almost like you're making a meringue. All right, so 10 minutes is up.
Okay, and it looks white. I think that's the real thing, isn't it? It shouldn't be a cousin of yellow anymore.
No,
it should be white.
It should be almost pale in color. You can really see the air that we put into the butter, sugar, and egg mixture from that 10-minute creaming process. And a lot of the sugar granules have started to dissolve as you sort of go through the aeration process. So that's what you're looking for after 10 minutes, and there's no way, as long as you set your timer or you monitor your timer for 10 minutes, there's no way you're not going to get to this point, unless you try and cheat and you don't cream for as long. Patience is a virtue.
Blade is unbelievable. Oops.
All right, so dry ingredients time. It's time to finish off the cookie. but let's grab the flour and put it in. I'm also gonna add
Is this
some,
yeast free, Christina?
It's yeast free.
But it's
just a high
bread making
protein,
flour.
exactly, as opposed to
Do you sift it?
no
Chuck it
sifting
in.
in my kitchen. Yeah, chuck it right in. I know. You wanna know why? 'Cause it doesn't matter that much.
Doesn't it?
It doesn't matter that much. We make really like sort of rich, dense, buttery cakes in our kitchen, rather than like
Permission
an
not
angel.
to
Yeah,
sift.
that's right. Granted. Okay, so a little salt because I really think because we're using an unsalted butter, adding the salt in here, it really helps control the balance of flavors.
We love salt.
Baking powder and baking soda, just as leavening agents. All right, so now it's time for the fun stuff.
Yay!
I like to start by adding the smaller ingredients first, and I like to sort of leave the pretzels and the potato chips for last, because when you get a really big bite of pretzel or potato chip, that pop of texture and salt is my favorite. And a really like sort of beautiful compost cookie for me has like a little pretzel peeking out that's whole. Okay, it's time for the salty crunchy
Yay.
of the cookie. All right, I'll do pretzels, you do potato chips.
And literally you just throw it in. And you
We throw it in and we're gonna give it just a second in the mixer because we wanna try and preserve as much of
the
the whole pretzels and potato chips as possible.
Just salted potato chips.
Yeah, just salted
but
potato
any kind.
chips, any kind. Preferably not one that's already dusted with the flavor. I like a kettle cooked potato chip because they're a little thicker and they hold their structure a little bit better
And just
when
a
you
light
go to
salt,
bake.
yeah.
All right, so again, just a little go round. Just 1, 2, 3, and that's it.
So awesome.
Maybe I'll give it one more.
So awesome. Listen to the sound.
I know, it sounds like a potato chip factory. All right, I'm gonna save that for when we're done scooping as our reward.
Yay.
And then it's just time to scoop. We, of course, at MilkBar, we don't make small cookies. We're very indulgent. We like to use a scoop this
You
size.
are American after all.
And the sort of secret to them is you really want to pack the scoop, but you want to round out the edges too.
Look at this. Look how clever this is and just how obvious it is.
My hands are still clean.
But it's so obvious to use an ice cream scoop. Not only do you get shape, but it makes them all uniform. I mean, there's a million reasons to do it. I suppose also you could make this ahead of time if you wanted to serve these, say, hot after a dinner party or something like that. You could put it in the fridge.
Absolutely. We actually refrigerate all of our cookie dough before we bake it because, you go through the process of creaming your butter and your sugars for 10 minutes. You go out of your way to get that high protein bread flour. We're actually going to take this cookie dough and refrigerate it for 1 or 2 hours until it's nice and cold. And then we'll preheat our smart oven before we bake the cookies, and they're going to come straight out of the fridge and into the oven.
Do you scoop before you freeze?
I scoop before I freeze.
Okay.
Because it's just easier to grab.
A cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one, you might not want to bake it. You might just want a round of cookie dough to eat. Might have been that kind of day.
Yes.
Or you might just want to bake off 2 or 3 at a time, and it's much easier to scoop the dough at room temperature straight out of the bowl
Yes.
than trying to wrangle with cold cookie dough. All right, so once the cookie dough is nice and cold, you can give it a little poke to make sure it's nice
you
and
could
solid.
throw this. This is rock solid. It's like it's harder than ice cream now.
Yeah, almost. So I like to preheat the oven right before I know I'm going to bring the cookie dough out. Depending on the kind of oven you're using, if you're using a conventional oven, so an oven without a fan, you want to do 375, which I think is about 190 Celsius.
That is.
We're going to use our Breville Smart Oven, which has a convection setting, so it's going to have a nice fan that blows the air around. So we're going to get an even bake and a really nice browning on all the edges of the cookies. And we're going to do that at 350, which is 180. All right, Paula, it's almost time. I think we can start the countdown.
Really?
Yeah,
Promise?
promise. Can you smell those cookies?
I'm dying right now.
Here we go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yay! Oh, it's on.
Oh, look at that. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Okay, so they really swell out.
Let's see how we did. I see a whole pretzel. I see a whole potato chip. They spread out the size that the cookies spread a little bit, so we gave them a little bit more space on that tray in the oven, knowing we were going to get.
And you could serve this hot with ice cream as a...
A la mode, compost cookies a la mode.
A la mode. Absolutely. You could totally do that at a dinner party, couldn't you? They're not just for kids. They're for every day.
All right, should we just do it?
Oh my God, I'm totally,
Okay, go.
can I just, I'm having
Oh, we're doing one per, we're not even sharing.
you kidding?
Okay.
No, this is mine, baby. I'm having all of it. Okay.
All right, cheers.